different types. That's pretty amazing. Cheese.
Did they have dye products?
Here you go. We have irtit. Irtit in hieroglyphs is milk.
Okay.
Ancient Egyptians drank milk. They also, what is a good meal in ancient Egypt? You'll be amazed.
What's a good meal?
What's a good meal?
Yeah,
What's
that's
a
good
common
question.
meal? Let's say a common
What's
meal,
a
not a good
common
meal. What's a common meal? A common meal in ancient Egypt is number of loaves of bread, spring onions, and a drink.
Spring onions.
Spring onions.
And
the
bread.
green spring onions. And
Just
bread.
like Easter, the Egyptian Easter.
That they ate like nobody's.
Spring onions is very delicious.
Yeah, I love spring onions.
It's very nutritious.
It's very nutritious. It's relaxant. I love it.
And
I
the
love
bread?
spring. And bread and a drink. So
what type of drink?
That would vary. But the interesting thing is that you have honey. But somewhere I read that honey was not, it was the expensive stuff. It was not available to everybody. But here is a good surprise for you. Ancient Egyptians did not know the sugar. You're asking about
genius.
You're asking about obesity. Having said that, we have obesity in ancient Egypt. Yes,
Did they?
we have obesity in ancient Egypt, yes. And we had people dying young in ancient Egypt and everything.
Exactly, but I don't want to jump because you're totally attracting all my attention with, something that might every second pop up, like they didn't know the sugar. But let's remember that because we're going to hit at it later on in the program. But dying young, how did that correlate with the organic food that they eat, the gluten-free elements and everything, and all this type of healthy food that they consumed on? What was the reason of they should be leading a very healthy life? What was the impact? My question to you, what was the impact of that type of food on their lifestyles?
Right.
It's very, contradicting.
Yes.
You said they were obese, they died at an
young,
early age,
30s.
but they ate healthy.
Yeah.
So does that
But they didn't
urge
all,
to?
the
I can feel
the style of life was not all honky dory. The style of life was not all the easy stuff that people think. People sitting on the banks of the River Nile doing nothing but fishing and eating.
But I'm eating healthy. At least
Yes,
they're
but there are
eating
fires, for example. So you are sniffing all sorts of fumes.
Okay.
Here you go. Here is one good reason. God forbid, everybody be in good health, inshallah, God willing, cancer.
And
right?
no cure.
Fats, because if you are a rich person or if you are a person who can afford eating cow or bull, in a tomb called Neb Eman, I was like studying the table of food, which was type of offerings, and I found a thigh of an ox. Right? I found heart. Heart was food. And I was interested to know that we still eat heart till today in Egypt. That I did. It was a surprise to me yesterday or a couple of days or something. And today it was confirmed to me by my friends. Yes, we eat. I know we ate brain because they used to make it in a very, very delicious way and so on. And why I used to eat brain. But I didn't know we ate heart. But heart was drawn on a tomb in ancient Egypt. It seems that the Egyptians ate heart or ate heart since thousands of years. Lettuce. Lettuce was a good thing to eat. It was also mentioned that lettuce used to be squeezed and the oil and the fluid was also used in medical stuff. Oils. Castor oil. Ancient Egyptians knew castor oil, studied castor oil, and used it in medical treatments. Zayt kharwa. Also,
and flaxseed.
Olive oil. That's healthy as well.
Very healthy.
Right? Ancient Egyptians knew yakut hieroglyphs for vegetables.
Okay.
They liked their yakut. Interesting enough, way of life. I like this question. Food and way of life. Food and the system.
Because
food,
you are what you eat.
Food
it's a very famous, popular phrase.
Here is a good sentence. But what about also food and manners?
Food and manners.
Yes,
That's a good one also.
ancient Egyptians studied their manners correctly on the table. Can you imagine this? 2,400 years BC, 4,400 years ago. An Egyptian gentleman with the name of Ptah is sitting with his son, giving him words of wisdom, telling him, do not look at the food beside you, but only look at the food in front of you. How many times did you hear this words of wisdom from your parents when you were young? History never dies. And what did Cynthiana say? Cynthiana said, one day, to those who do not read their past, will be condemned, will be punished by repeating it.
By repeating it, of course.
Because you will repeat your same questions because you did not read your past. Here is the importance of history.
It's not only related to food, but to
Related
anything.
to everything. You are correct. You are correct indeed.
Right.
And he says, do not laugh until he laughs. So when you go to eat on a table, the person who is inviting you to this, so we knew that there were invitations. They were, come and have a meal with us. Sure. Also we knew that they knew cheese, various types of cheese. And that was found in a tomb of a lady in Saqqara, thousands of years ago. Various types of cheese. We knew fish was cooked. And here is the surprise, talking about healthy. Head cut. Now, I, as a tour guide, took American groups to Alexandria. And one special group told the company that I was working for, please, when you serve us food in Alexandria, remove the head. And I thought to myself, but the ancient Egyptian lady did that in her tomb in Saqqara.
True.
They had a different reason, I'm sure. Their reason was they didn't like to eat the fish while it's looking at us. That's their point of view. They don't like the fish looking at them while they are eating it. But that's another story. That's another story. We knew birds. We knew quail was eaten in ancient Egypt. Quail, simman.
Right, but I mean, we only have like less than 5 minutes to go, and we'll have also to elaborate over the idea of how this very healthy food and nutritionist elements in that food inspired the very sophisticated cuisines worldwide, like the Japanese, for example, the sushi. Sushi is inspired, I guess, of course, I'm not an expert with history to cuisine, but the raw material, the fresh, the organic, and everything is the ingredients of a piece of sushi. And that was used hundreds of years ago or thousands of years ago. The organic food in the United States and in England and everything, the groceries that have the fresh leaves and everything, the seeds, the shea seeds and all the types of seeds that are the flake seeds and everything. As far as I remember, all of this used to be taken back then at the ancient
And they are
Egypt.
now capsules that you buy for expensive prices and so on. Well, in 1 minute, I will tell you.
No, you have like 5 minutes. Or
Let's bring them back. Let's bring this type of food. We don't take the unhealthy stuff that they took. We take the cuisine that can be managed 2018. We put them in small booths. Young gentlemen, young ladies can work on these booths. We can introduce books. I love what the bibliothèque...
Lupin, for example.
For example, Bibliotheca Alexandrina published an amazing book about plants in Asia. I love this book, Cult Nat, and the Library of Alexandria, an amazing book, Egyptians, written by Egyptians. And that book was about plants in Asia. I think this book can be used a great deal in making this business and making this as an economical move as well. So the economy move is here, the food is here, we still have what they used in ancient times. All what we want from the Minister of Agriculture is to encourage tiger nuts once again. We need the doctors...
And to realize the idea.
Exactly.
His
By
idea
the way,
is
they put
beyond
it in the
that.
Museum of Agriculture in Duki, tiger nuts. And it's and then we can after we do this and after we manage all of this, we can start the food tourism, the cuisine tourism, that tourism that people come visit the monuments and also taste the food of each and every governorate, and by this you introduce the Egyptian cuisine to the world. So because people will come
Which
back
is
and say,
done
I like this, I
worldwide.
like that. Yeah.
Which is done worldwide.
No, my dear,
In Italy,
I will end
and in
Italy.
Greece,
Exactly.
and
Yes.
in
No, good luck to them.
in
They work
Yemen,
very-
in
and Yemen.
Iran, and
Yeah.
Afghanistan, the Afghan bread,
Yes.
worldwide. And here also.
I led a family from the United States that dwelled in Egypt on tahina and bread. They enter a place and the guy comes to ask, what would you like to order? The Egyptian bread that's
Tahina,
coming out of the
right.
oven and the tahina salad. And finally, I will end with you in 30 seconds. In ancient times, in ancient Egyptian times, was food related to romance? Was food related to love?
All the time.
And and I will finish with you with a comment written by an ancient Egyptian lady or a girl. We don't know her name. But on a papyrus, she says, do you leave now because you want to eat? You are then a man who has got no concern but his tummy.
But I think he has every reason. If she knew how to cook well, then he wouldn't leave. Of course, as usual, Dr. Bassam Shammaa, the historian and the Egyptologist, would like to thank you very much. It's always amazing and interesting to have you here talk about ancient Egypt and the different stories that are related in a chronological way, in a most amazing way.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed every bit of it. And I guess this brings us to the end of this edition of Windows on Current Affairs. Thank you very much, and would love to have you again next week. Until then, that's a goodbye.